just kind of selects any random vertice in the surrounding area and moves it up. So obviously we don't want it like that, but that was just for demonstration. So I'm going to pull, just kind of move it around. This does get really messy, so if you're really anal about clean topology, then my sincere apologies, because this is probably driving you insane. Yeah, we have all sorts of things just kind of going through other pieces, and it's not pretty whatsoever. But the thing is that actually helps make it more realistic, I guess. At least that's what I found. It just makes it look like an actual collision. And if you see, I think that'll be good enough for now. Let's do these headlights just a little bit. Enable. There we go. It's going to be really destroyed. Okay, as we see, if I scale it up, that looks like a pretty crunched car. Like that would be a really bad day. So, you can see that if I look in the subdivision surface modifier, if I bump that up, you can see it really smooths it out. And this is another thing, where you can see here down where the polygons are all tight, you get this twisted metal sort of effect going on, and really that's what you want. So this is actually too smooth for that kind of effect, but for now I think it'll do. I think you get the point, and yeah, so I'll just move on. So as you can see here, we can slide the damage of the car from like no damage to all the way damage. And if you remember, when we were in side view, we could see that at frame 51, there is no damage whatsoever because it hasn't even hit the pole yet. So when I'm hovering over this value, I'm going to press I, and that sets a keyframe for how much influence it has. And then on frame 52, I'm going to scale this all the way to 1 and hit I as well. And if we play this back, you can see that the car comes and bam, crashes. That is pretty cool. That's a really good start. So just see it one more time, just because it's fun to look at. Coming, driving, bam. To be honest, that's not completely realistic. I understand, because you know, we'd probably have some crumples back here. Let's see if I can add those real quick. Probably just, oh, looks like I have something selected down there. Okay. I'm gonna select this. What the heck? I do not know what's going on. Why is it selecting? Okay. Move that. Push this around a bit. I guess you can just really mess with it however you want. It's definitely not an exact science. Well, actually, excuse me, this is an exact science. But for now, it'll do without being rocket science. Okay. So, it's good enough, but I think you understand the point of how to do it. And if you really want to go in and make something crazy, that would be awesome, and I'd love to see it afterwards. But we just don't have time to mess around right now. So I'll keep going with this. So you can see that was the first impact, so it hits there, and then it kind of flies around in the air until it kind of gets flattened and then hits by that little ball there. So when it gets flattened, it just yeah, there's not really too much crunching going on there. The majority of it is in the initial impact. Oh, one thing I forgot to do that actually makes a whole lot of difference is when you're making the crash, you should rotate it up a little bit. So I'm just going to select smooth and hit R for rotate. Oh, please don't tell me. Oh, please no. Yeah, I really shouldn't have done the subdivision surface on the front grille. I think that's causing all sorts of problems. Even though my computer can certainly handle all of it, Blender is not really good on high poly counts at the moment. Okay, well, instead of making you suffer through this, I'm just gonna pause this and yeah, I'll come back in a second. Sorry about this. Okay, I apologize for that. Probably one of the worst things I could do during a contest of all things. But let's keep going anyway. So what I was just about to say is make sure you kind of rotate when you deform something. Make sure you rotate it as well as just moving it around, because really what happens is it does kind of crush and twist almost the entire car. So here I'm going to move it down a little bit, and then in the back, yeah. So you can see here I just did the exact same thing as earlier. Maybe it's a little bit different, but what was causing the crash is this grill down here. Like I said before, it had lots of polygons since I had subdivided it, and not only was it, you know, subdivided, but for some reason it wasn't selected when I had checked to remove doubles, so it was subdivided and then doubled, and it was causing all sorts of problems. So I probably should have simplified that first, but too late now, I suppose. Okay, so we have that. Then it goes over here, and the ball kind of crashes on it, and that's the secondary kind of animation that we want to have. So again, let's keep this on. Oh, I forgot to keyframe this in my other one, so let me do that here real quick. Frame 51. No, that's not 51. That's 51. Okay. Here we have a value of 0. Next frame, value of 1. Okay. Finally moving on. Ball comes down and hits it. Let's see. Moment of impact is... Let's see. That's where it's... 95 is where it's almost hitting it. And then that's kind of where it's at its peak. You can say that's when it's pretty much done. Is at 104 is where it's like deepest into the mesh. So that's where I'm going to go ahead and edit it. So I'm going to add a new shape key. Go in, and you can see it's the same as the base. So that is not to worry though, because we can still grab this with proportional editing and smooth on. Just kind of grab it down like that. Maybe move the wheel well a little bit down. Move to the side. Let's see, how far is the ball going? Maybe even in here a little bit. Okay, so you can see here that even with the first one enabled, I can still slide this value up and it'll add that on top of the other one. So even though in this shape key this mesh isn't affected at all, it's not mixing the two, it's adding them on top of each other, which means it's really powerful. So it looks like with this, since we bent the trunk upwards when it crashed, then I'm going to go ahead and move this down just a little bit more, just to kind of compensate. And you see here there's maybe a little bit too much in the front or down here. You do have to adjust for the, you know, displacement a little bit. Okay, that looks good. So no, all the way. So what did we say? 95? Okay, let's say 95. So that's where it's not yet hitting, but is just about to. Let's actually go to 96 just to be extra safe. So it's intersecting a little bit, but when it's going very fast, that is not noticeable at all. So I'm going to put a keyframe right there at 0, and then at 105, where we said it's at its deepest point, I'm going to move that all the way up, kind of keyframe that. There we go. Looks like I forgot to start that again. Okay. So you can see here that as we play this back, scrub through the timeline, that kind of crashes. It's that hits, smushes, and arrests. So that's not entirely realistic. You know, the rest of the car should be more affected. It should bounce a little bit. But when you're adjusting the physics and the, you know, shape keys, you should be able to do all of that very easily, and we're kind of running out of time here, so let me just move on real quick for the windshield exploding, and then we'll be done. So, in this layer we have the windshield and the wheels. The wheels I'm actually going to move into layer 2, and so it'll just be on the same layer as the car. This I can keep there, we don't really want or even need that at the moment. This I'm actually going to move into layer 1. And the reason for that is we're going to be using particles, and this floor is going to be a collision, and the collision and the particles have to be on the same layer. So remember that. If you're ever having troubles, it might be because they're not on the same layer. So with the windshield here,